Hey everybody, just got done recording for my Danger Orcust deck profile, and Orcust is in a really cool spot because you can do all sorts of different things with Orcust. That means that it's available for everybody. So I wanted to include a budget build, and what I think is a pretty cool build that doesn't cost nearly as much as the Danger Orcust build. So let's hop right into it. This is for all you budget players, and I'm going to go over some alternatives after the video that you can include, and some different things you can do to tweak the deck. So let's hop right into it. Now, first off, I want to start off with hand traps. The really cool part about this deck is that as a budget option, the cards that you include really actually strengthen your ability to go second. This deck is playing 5 hand traps, Ash Blossom and Effect Veiler, and pretty much any hand trap that you have, you can put in there. Ash Blossom and Veiler are both available in commons, and I believe that they're the best to this format. So if you have them, absolutely include them, but in this particular spot, you can pretty much put any hand traps you want. Then we got the Orcust, pretty similar, not even similar, it's the exact same as the regular Orcust build. So we got 2, 2, and 2, as well as 1 World Legacy World Wand. Now, in my opinion, World Wand is actually better in this deck than it is in the other Danger Orcust deck, and I'll go over why when I get into the other choices that this deck has in it. Next, the PK stuff, again, the same ratio. I really do like this 2-in-1 ratio. It prevents a lot of dead draws by doing this. And then, thank goodness Neospace Connector has come in a common, so that's also available for everybody. And then to go along with it, you got the Aqua Dolphin. Simply one of the best normal summons of the entire deck. Now, here's where it starts to differ from the other Orcust deck, and what I think is really cool about this particular version. We've got Dark Griffer, Armageddon Knight, and then we have triple Destrudo. Destrudo is awesome because it pairs with anything that you draw. Oops, you drew into a Harp Horror, special summon Destrudo. You drew into just an Aqua Dolphin. Well, not only can you pitch the Destrudo with Aqua Dolphin, but you could just summon Destrudo back. It's really, really cool, really huge versatility in the deck. And then when we get to the extra deck, it allows you to play a couple of really cool techs. So then we have Phantom Skyblaster. Skyblaster is a fantastic 1-card combo and just gets a bunch of monsters on the field. In the middle of the game, if you have another monster on the field, now you have 4 monsters on the field, and then bam, you can go into whatever kind of link shenanigans you want to. So pretty awesome card. That is it for the monsters, so I'm just going to clear that up. Again, I'm going to go over some other alternatives after the video, because I also really want to talk about the Trick Star package for this deck, but I'll go into that after. So the traps, same trap lineup as the other Orcust deck. So we got 2 Fog Blades, and you can actually run 3 in this deck. You can run 3 in either deck. It's completely personal preference. Do you want a really long grind game? Which, in my opinion, this deck actually does a little bit better than the other deck. Brigadine and Crescendo. Some people are opting to up the Crescendo count. You can absolutely do that to hard draw into it. Alright, that's it for the traps. Let's get into the spells. My favorite spell of the entire deck is Instant Fusion, because we are playing a fantastic card in our extra deck for it. We are playing the Hornet Drones because it's super cheap. Both it and Kagari are cheap, and if you just hard draw into it, it's really nice to be able to 1-card do the combo without even using your normal summon. This deck has a lot of normal summons, so being able to get into your combo without using your normal summon is really, really valuable. Foolish Burial, we got a lot of cards in this deck we want to send to the graveyard. Monster Reborn, just to revive pretty much anything. It's a free monster, and this deck really likes monsters. We got Babel, Reinforcement of the Army, and this actually has much more utility than it does in the other deck. And then for the last 3 cards in the deck, we've got 3 Called by the Graves. These come in commons, and it's just a fantastic card for this entire deck. And in playtesting with this particular deck, it actually plays through Disruption really, really well. Even if you don't have Called by the Graves, you could really replace this with pretty much anything. Again, after the video, I'll go over into it. Alright, my favorite part of the deck, the extra deck. So let's check this out. So it's going to start off pretty standard. So you got 3 Longirsu, 3 Galatea, 1 Longirsu. Love Longirsu in this deck. I explained it in the other video. Then you got the Nightmares. You got Mermaid. I promise this is a Cerberus yet again, and a Phoenix. So these are actually the only Nightmares that you're running. A Unicorn is pretty expensive right now. I don't know exactly what the price is, but I think it's over 20. So I didn't really include it in this deck. I tried to not include anything over $20. Except for the really important cards. Next, you've got Kagari. Again, part of your 1-card combo. You got your Rusty Bardish, Time Thief Redoer, as well as Break Sword. Again, Break Sword is a really, really awesome card in this deck. And with the Destrudo, if you have a level 4 monster on the field, you can go into Break Sword much easier than you could in the other deck. So then we have one Dingirsu. Technically, the deck could operate under only a single Dingirsu. It is better if you have a second one, but this deck really, really likes Dingirsu, and unfortunately, it is the most expensive card in this entire deck, but it is needed and it is well worth it. The investment versus the power that this deck has is super, super, super worth it. So even if you got a trade, I definitely recommend getting your hands on that. Next, we have Thousand Eyes Restrict. Fantastic card. Makes the ability to go second, the ceiling for going second, much higher, even in the mirror match. If you activate the, Instant Fusion to go into Thousand Eyes Restrict versus your opponent's board, they have to do something about it, and it forces your opponent to answer. So it always basically outs one negate. Next, pretty awesome part that this deck is playing that the other deck isn't is two Synchro Monsters. We've got F.A. Dawn Dragster, as well as Borreload Savage Dragon. I think Savage Dragon's price has dropped quite a lot, but it is an amazing, amazing card. Really easy to go into it in this deck. All you got to do is target a level 3 with Destrudo, leave Destrudo on the field, and then summon a level 4, do your shenanigans, and at the end of it, just go into Savage Dragon. Fantastic card. F.A. Dawn Dragster is a really great card because with Destrudo, you can, so for instance, if you were to do your regular combo and end on a Shade Brigandine, you could activate the Brigandine to special summon it and then just use Destrudo to summon it and then go into Dawn Dragster. And then instead of, you would have to do that in the place of a Fog Blade. In fact, why don't I just show you? I know that I did this combo in the other video, but I'm just going to go into Dawn Dragster in this particular video. So all you need is a way to do your combo plus Destrudo wherever he is. So there's Destrudo there, and then I have let's say Sky Blaster, as well as other cards in the hand. Okay, now I'm gonna power through this and just show you where the combo differs. So Sky Blaster is going to summon a token. You use those guys to go into one of your nightmares, which you then use to go into your Mermaid. What's really cool is you can actually just pitch Destrudo, and it's going to come back to you to summon the Orcust Nightmare. You're going to use those guys to go into Galatea. You're going to banish the Nightmare to send the Harp. Banish the Harp to summon Skeleton. Alright, now here is where it kind of gets a little bit different. So when you summon Rusty Bardish here, okay? We're going to use its effect. Instead of setting a Fog Blade, we're actually going to set a Brigandine. So banishing Skeleton, summoning the Galatea. Galatea is going to set the Nightmare to the deck. We're going to activate the Babble. So Bardish's effect, we're going to send, where is he? The Cloak, okay, like usual, and we're going to set the Brigandine here, okay? So this is in the graveyard here. Set the Brigandine. Then continue exactly like you would before. Use Cloak to add boots, special boots. Going to overlay on top of that our single Dingirsu, and then Dingirsu is going to attach that to it. Okay? So, right now we're going to go into Galatea. And then we can banish our boots to add the Fog Blade to hand. Now this would normally be the second Fog Blade, but in this case we really want to go with Dawn Dragster. So we're going to activate the Brigandine, and then use Destrudo to target it, and then Synchro with these guys to go into the Dawn Dragster. Here. Now, technically you could have done that a little bit earlier in the combo, or if you wanted to actually summon something that wasn't Galatea, that had an arrow pointing somewhere, something like a phoenix, or you couldn't technically do phoenix, but it doesn't matter. But this does use up your zone, but it is an extra negate, and this is just an example. But you could absolutely do this, and all you need is the Destrudo. I think in order to really exploit Dawn Dragster plus Destrudo, you technically need like one more extender. Well, yeah, Instant Fusion would work. Just to get that extra arrow, so you could basically like make it over here and then move back over here in order to make the Dawn Dragster. But still, this is really great because instead of just a monster negation, you have kind of a spell trap negation too. So tell me what you guys think. What kind of budget options would you use? Now I'd like to discuss what kind of alternative budget options we can use. And mainly I wanted to discuss the Trickstar engine. So the Trickstar engine is actually used even in the top Danger decks, Danger Orcust decks. And that's because it really actually strengthens the deck's ability to go first or second. When you activate that light stage, as long as it's on the field versus an opponent's deck that has back row, you can really continue to get a whole lot of use out of it. So that is great. I mentioned in my previous video that you could use things like Junk Forward to go into more of a Dark Warrior type deck. That is also a great option. As far as the extra deck goes, if you can't afford the Dingirsu, unfortunately, you only need one, but unfortunately I would not recommend playing this deck, just because that just adds so much to the table, and that alone is actually what brought this deck into meta relevance. So yeah, if you guys have any other budget options, things, text, that would be really cool. That would be awesome if you could list that in the comments. Another card, if you have it, that would be great in this deck is Nightmare Ibli. Ibli is a one-card combo, but it is a little bit expensive. It's under $20, but it's like 15 or so. I would recommend playing 2 of them because it's fantastic. Not only in the early game when you want to summon it and then get your combo going, but in the late game too, because it'll summon Link Monster from the graveyard, and you can give it to your opponent, and sometimes they can't really do anything about it. Another option is the cheaper Danger Monsters. So specifically Mothman. Mothman is really, really good, and if you actually have access to Mothman, I would recommend just throwing 3 right into the deck. The deck is really good and thrives on extenders. Mothman not only gets you a level 4 out there, but it combos really well with Destrudo. Other things, a third Fogblade would be really good, like I mentioned earlier. Ghost Ogre is another budget alternative. It comes in the dual power, so if you might actually have some. Pretty much any hand trap. This format, even like DD Crow, which I don't have out right now, and I'm not going to search for it on video, but those would also be really good. But that's my video. That's my budget alternative. Oh yeah, also Borreload Dragon is technically budget. Not sure what the price is on it, but I know that it was reprinted, so if you could get your hands on that, you could definitely use that to out more boards. With the lack of 2 Dingirsu, you don't have as much of the ability to break an untargetable monster, so I would recommend definitely picking that up. It's also really great against the Thunder deck, which is going to really pick up in popularity. So anyway, yeah, I'm going to end this video. It's getting too long. You guys have a great day.